Okay, so we're diving into some pretty interesting stuff today. You know how much we both value, like getting straight to the point,
Right.
cutting through the noise, and really understanding what's going on. And, you brought up this YouTube video by the Pathwise Project, and it really caught my attention. They're taking a look at these two figures, Saheli Chatterjee and Ishan Sharma, who are like all over the online business and freelancing scene, and not everyone's convinced they're the real deal.
Right. Yeah. It's not just about, calling people out or anything. It's more like, let's take a closer look at what they're saying, what kind of proof they offer, and see if it actually adds up. Like, are they really experts? Are they giving people solid advice? Or are they just, making big promises to sell courses? It's kind of a deep dive into the whole make money online world, which, as we know, can be pretty wild.
Totally. And what I found really interesting was how the video starts off by talking about this, like huge appetite in India specifically for figuring out how to make money online. And a lot of it is centered around this idea of not needing any special skills, like anyone can do it. And well, the video kind of suggests that this desire, this like hunger for quick solutions, might be making people a bit less careful about who they trust and what they believe. And that's where these two, Saheli and Ishan, come in.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, right? It makes you wonder if, like, when we're so focused on getting results fast, we might not be as critical of the information that's out there. Like, are we checking things carefully enough?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Saheli Chatterjee. The video mentions her marketing agency, Coffee Media, which, sounds pretty legit, right?
Yeah.
But then they drop this bomb. They couldn't find any official registration for a company with that name, and there's no website, like nothing. For a marketing agency in this day and age, that's kind of strange, don't you think?
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. You'd expect any serious marketing agency to have a solid online presence,
Mm.
a website, social media, all that. But the video does mention that she's got this Freelance 101 Academy, which is under a registered company called MB Fame Learning. So there's a formal structure for the academy, but not for the agency, which is kind of interesting.
Right, and the video goes even deeper. Like, they actually checked out the Freelance 101 Academy website. They found this Google Maps listing that seemed really outdated.
Yeah.
But the real head-scratcher was the portfolio they found in the website footer. Some of the first slides were literally just hi and hello. Like, come on, if you're showcasing your professional work, wouldn't you want to put your best foot forward?
Totally. It comes across as, I don't know, a bit amateurish, right? And the video creator who mentions they're a designer themselves, they pointed out that the whole look of the portfolio seems like it was made with those basic Canva templates. Canva is great for quick stuff, but for a professional portfolio, it might not be the best choice.
And it gets even wilder. They actually went through some of the client work that was showcased. One example was this website for fan.com. Now, according to the video, this website, which was built on Wix, is totally gone now. Like, poof, disappeared. And their social media is dead silent. And they claim the client's not even using the logo that Saheli's agency supposedly designed. I mean, if you were thinking about taking her a course, wouldn't that make you wonder?
For sure. I mean, if a big part of your portfolio is a client whose website is gone and who's not using your work, it kind of makes you question what actually happened there, right? Did the project fall apart? Was it not a successful collaboration?
Exactly. Another client they mentioned was My Easy Therapy. And guess what? They're not using the logo either, apparently. What's interesting is that in a client review, it's mentioned that this client already had like over 1 million followers, even before they worked with Saheli. So the video creator is wondering, like, how much did Saheli really contribute to their growth?
Yeah, that's a super important point, isn't it? When someone's already got a huge following, it's hard to know how much any new marketing efforts actually helped. It makes you think, like, how do we really measure impact?
Right. And then, get this, for 3 other clients in the portfolio, all they had were screenshots. No links, no descriptions, nothing. Like, how are you supposed to even know what the project was about?
It's like, what are we even looking at here? A good portfolio should give you the details, show the process, and ideally let you see the final product, right?
Absolutely. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The video highlights Saheli's connections with these 2 other guys, Sharan Hegde, finance with Sharan, and Ridul Madhak. Apparently, Saheli was actually the marketing head for Sharan's big course at one point. And the video suggests that they've got this whole system of like promoting each other, You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah.
Have you noticed this kind of thing happening a lot in the online education world?
Yeah, it's pretty common actually. It makes sense in a way because they have similar audiences, so cross promotion can be a good strategy. But The video is implying that it might not always be about genuinely endorsing each other's work. It's more about getting more followers
Yeah.
and views, which, makes you think twice about how much you can trust those endorsements.
For sure. Like, are they really recommending each other because they believe in the quality? Or is it just a numbers game? Okay, let's talk money.
Hmm.
Saheli's claimed that she earned 1 crore, that's 10 million rupees, in 4 years by the time she was 21, which would have been around 2021. But the video points out that sometimes she says it took her 3 years, not four. Little inconsistencies like that can make you wonder.
Yeah, it's like, which one is it? The video then digs into some of her earlier income claims. They mentioned she said her first month making 1 lakh as a freelancer was in the second half of 2019.
Right. And before that, she was claiming something like 30,000 to 50,000 a month from writing book reviews and doing content work. And the video creator actually says, based on their own experience hiring writers, that that range seems pretty realistic. So it's not those early numbers that are raising red flags, you know?
Exactly. The video seems to be saying, like, okay, those early figures, they're possible. The real question is how she went from that to Wooger 1 crore so quickly.
Right. So the video creator actually breaks down the math. They say if she was making, let's say, 50,000 a month in 2018 and 2019, then 1 lakh a month in 2020, that's about 24 lakhs total over those 3 years. To hit that Eurocore mark in 4 years, which is what she sometimes claims, she would have had to make a whopping 76 lakhs in 2021 alone. And remember, her Freelance 101 Academy launched in 2021. Getting that kind of income in a single year from a brand new business, that seems pretty tough to believe.
Yeah, you'd have to have an insane amount of students and be converting like a huge percentage of them into paying customers. It's not impossible, but it would be a remarkable feat, especially considering the concerns about your agency's work that we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And there's more about her income claims. She said her marketing agency brought in 70 lakhs. But when you look at her portfolio, which seems to be mostly small projects, it's hard to see how that adds up.
Yeah.
The video creator even suggests that most of those were probably one-time gigs, not like big ongoing contracts.
Yeah, it's like if those were all one-off projects and not very high-paying ones based on what we're seeing, where's the rest of that income coming from? It just doesn't seem to add up.
Right, so if it's not the agency work and not her early freelancing that's bringing in the big bucks, where's it coming from? The video suggests probably her courses. They even did a quick calculation. If her Freelance 101 course was priced at $799 and she got, say, 1,000 students for a webinar, that's about 8 lakhs from just that one event. So maybe that's where the real money's at.
It definitely makes you think, right? Like, is the focus really on teaching and helping people, or is it more about selling those courses?
And here's where things get a little messy. The video straight up accuses her of design theft. They're claiming she's taking other people's designs, maybe tweaking them a little, and then selling them to her clients, possibly for way more than they're actually worth. The video creator, since they're a designer, they estimate that the kind of work she's showing would normally cost a lot less. So making a huge profit from that seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah, that's a serious accusation. In the design world, taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own is a big no-no. And ethically, it's not right to charge clients a lot of money for something that's not original or that you didn't really create.
Now check this out. When they looked at her LinkedIn business page for Coffee Media, it was like a ghost town. Only one post and zero engagement. But then they dug a little deeper and found a testimonial from someone who said they were a design student of Saheli's. And this person claimed that Saheli was actually selling copy designs to clients. And the video even references a case on this other YouTube channel called Decluttered that had similar allegations about design plagiarism. When you see multiple people saying the same thing, it does make you wonder.
It definitely adds more weight to the claims, right? It suggests that this might not just be a one-time thing, but maybe a pattern of behavior.
Totally. And they found comments on Reddit from someone who had actually paid for the course, and they were talking about how much they hoped it would help them. It really makes you think about how vulnerable people are when they're just starting out and they're looking for guidance. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, especially if you don't have a lot of experience.
Absolutely. People want to believe that they can achieve their goals, and they're willing to put in the effort and the money, but they also need to be careful and do their research.
The video also brings up this guy, Priyank Mukherjee, who they say benefited from Freelance 101 Academy. But his claims, according to the video, are not backed up by any real skills. And then, get this, on Saheli's website, there's apparently a statement saying that if students don't succeed, it's their own fault. What do you make of that?
I mean, sure, personal effort is super important when you're learning anything, but Putting all the blame on the student if they don't get results, it feels a little bit like she's trying to avoid taking any responsibility if her course isn't actually that good.
Yeah, it's kind of like a get out of jail free card, isn't it? The video also criticizes her free content on YouTube, saying it's mostly vague advice without any real actionable steps. It makes you think, is the goal of those videos really to help people, or is it just to get them to buy her paid courses?
That's the age-old question with a lot of online education, right? Is the free stuff actually valuable, or is it just a teaser to get you to pay up?
Right. And the video wraps up its analysis of Saheli by saying they just don't believe that she's consistently making 1 lakh a month from her agency. They're basically saying that most of her income is probably coming from selling courses. And they end with this question. If she's not really a successful freelancer herself, how can she effectively teach others how to do it?
Yeah, it's a valid point. You'd expect someone who's teaching a skill to be really good at it themselves, right? To have actually achieved the results that they're promising others.
Okay, so on to Ishan Sharma. The video goes straight for the jugular, calling him a clickbait king. They start with this example where he made a video claiming he bought this fancy 3-core house, but then later on, he admitted it was actually rented. I mean, that's not a good look, is it?
Not really, no. It kind of feels like he's trying to create this image of success that's not entirely true. And when you see that, it makes you wonder, what else is he exaggerating?
And yet, he's got this massive following, like over 400,000 on LinkedIn and almost 1 million on Instagram. But the video asks this question. What does he actually do? Like, what's his real area of expertise?
Right. Having a lot of followers doesn't necessarily mean you're an expert, does it? It just means you're good at getting people's attention. But what are you actually offering them?
He claims he dropped out of BITS Goa, which is a big deal in India. It's a
Right.
really prestigious engineering school. But guess what? His profile still mentions BITS Goa. And the video calls him out for basically saying that degrees don't matter in India, which, is a controversial statement.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of people in India who still see a degree as being super important for getting a good job. So for him to say they're worthless, it's going to rub some people the wrong way.
Back in 2022, he made this big deal about creating a Flappy Bird AI project. Sounds pretty impressive, right? But the video claims that he just copied it from GitHub. GitHub is where developers share code, and a lot of it is open source, meaning anyone can use it. They show screenshots that suggest he just uploaded an existing project and acted like it was his own. And people online were calling him out on it, too. So much for hustling hard.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to claim you built something yourself, you better have actually built it. Taking someone else's code and saying it's yours, that's not cool.
So the video points out that Ishan started out making videos about all sorts of things, but when those didn't take off, he shifted to this whole freelancing and design niche. And they're saying he saw that people were going crazy for content about making money online without any skills, and he jumped on that bandwagon. And that's when the clickbait really ramped up. He found a winning formula and went all in.
Yeah, it sounds like he figured out what people wanted and then just gave it to them, even if it wasn't, the most genuine or accurate information.
The video uses this one video as an example, and it went viral. And it was about how his sister made 1,500 euros per hour doing super basic t-shirt designs, like removing the background, changing colors, adding some text. The video creator's like, come on, in 2025, that's a one-click thing with Canva. They're suggesting that it was probably just a one-time gig, and he made it sound way more amazing than it was, just for clicks. And guess what? They dug up his sister's old YouTube channel, and 4 years ago, she posted a tutorial on, you guessed it, background removal, and then she switched to making videos about books. So that 1,500 per hour thing seems pretty fishy, doesn't it? Oh, and she also designed a logo for Ishan's business, which closed down after just 3 months.
Wow. That's quite a story. It does seem like he's stretching the truth, to say the least. And the fact that his own business failed, even with his sister's logo, makes you wonder even more.
So despite all this, despite not really having any solid experience beyond those basic Canva projects, he's got tons of videos telling people how to make money freelancing and designing. The video focuses on one tutorial where he doesn't even have a specific project in mind, but he claims you can make 5,000 euros per day using this software. And he keeps mentioning this website, but he calls it feralsr.com, which the video creator thinks he meant to say Fiverr.com. Now, Fiverr is mostly known for, cheap gigs, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a platform where people go for low-cost services, and there's a lot of competition. It's not impossible to make decent money on Fiverr, but it's not easy.
Exactly. And the video's point is, how can you teach people how to make a lot of money on Fiverr if you haven't done it yourself? And they're openly doubting that he's ever made any real money on that platform.
It's that same problem we were talking about earlier, right? The do as I say and not as I do kind of thing.
Right. And then the video criticizes his advice for being outdated. They're like, dude, it's 2025. AI is taking over a lot of those basic tasks that you're teaching people to do. They analyzed one of his AI videos and compared it to what some more established YouTube channels are doing, and it's not even close. They even go so far as to say that his content is just mental masturbation and not actually helpful for people who want to learn about AI or design or freelancing.
Ouch. That's harsh, but it's a good point. If you're giving people advice on something that's constantly changing, like AI, you've got to stay on top of the latest developments. Otherwise, you might be teaching people stuff that's already obsolete.
So now let's talk about his business, Mark It Up. He supposedly claimed that Mark It Up was making more money than CR, that big financial company, and said this was back in September 2021. But get this, according to the video, Mark It Up wasn't even officially registered until December 2021. So how could it be making more money than CR8 if it didn't even exist yet?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's a pretty big red flag when someone makes claims like that, and then you find out the timeline just doesn't add up.
Right. And then when they looked at Mark It Up's LinkedIn page, it was pretty bare. Like only 14,000 followers, and they never posted anything. And their logo is really generic, apparently. It looks a lot like some other company's logo.
Yeah, for a company that's supposed to be killing it in the marketing world, that's not a great look. You'd think they'd have a more professional online presence, wouldn't you?
Totally. So he claimed that Mark It Up made 1 crore in income in 2022. But the video shows this publicly available data that supposedly says they only made 40 lakhs in revenue with a net profit of just 3 lakhs. That doesn't match up with his claims of making 3 to 5 lakhs a month and having a team of 25 people. How are you going to pay 25 people with a profit margin that small? There's even a former employee who's claiming that he was messing with the numbers.
Wow. It sounds like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on there.
The video also tears apart Mark It Up's website. They point out that there are 2 different logos on the homepage. The design looks like a cheap template, and there's no mention of any international clients, even though he claims he's making money in dollars. And the website hadn't been updated in 2 years. And the company's pitch deck is apparently a mess, too. It doesn't even match the website, and it's full of design flaws. You'd think a successful content marketing agency would have their own stuff figured out, right?
Absolutely. If you can't even design a decent website or pitch deck for your own company, how can you expect people to trust you to do it for them?
Right. And the video basically concludes that Ishan's real moneymaker is probably just making clickbait content about whatever's trending, even if he doesn't really know anything about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's just rehashed stuff that other people have already done. They even mentioned that Anupam Mittal, I think they might have gotten the name a little mixed up. Maybe it was Anupam Gupta or another one of those Shark Tank India judges. But anyway, someone publicly questioned his claims on their podcast.
It sounds like his whole strategy is built on hype and attention grabbing, not on real substance. And when you have respected business people raising eyebrows, that's a big sign that something's not right.
Okay, so in the final part of the video, the creator kind of summarizes everything. They say that a lot of people already know that Saheli and Ishan aren't all they're cracked up to be. And they specifically say that these guys are targeting young people who are just starting out and don't know any better, who are desperate for a way to make money.
Yeah, that's the really sad part, right? Preying on people who are just trying to figure things out and build a career for themselves.
And they end by saying they don't hate these guys or anything. They're just concerned about all the misleading information that's out there. It's a pretty powerful message, don't you think?
Definitely. It's a reminder that not everything you see online is true, and that it's more important than ever to be critical of what you're consuming, especially when it comes to advice that promises you quick success or easy money.
So just to recap, this deep dive into the Pathwise Project video has uncovered some pretty serious allegations against both Saheli Chatterjee and Ishan Sharma. We looked at Saheli's potentially fake marketing agency, her questionable portfolio, the inconsistencies in her income claims, those accusations of design theft, and the suggestion that her main income comes from courses, not from actual freelancing success.
And with Ishan, we saw those clickbait tactics, those potentially false claims about his house and his AI project, the questions about his actual expertise, the inconsistencies in his company's financial reports, and the overall lack of substance in a lot of his content.
It's a good reminder for all of us, especially our listeners who are all about getting the facts and making smart decisions, to be really careful about online business and freelancing advice that sounds too good to be true.
Absolutely. Do your research, be critical, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
So here's something for everyone to think about. If there are so many people out there trying to sell us these get-rich-quick schemes and easy solutions, what does that say about us? About our desire for instant gratification and our maybe sometimes willingness to believe things that aren't quite true? And what's our responsibility in all this? Are we just passively consuming this content, or are we demanding something better? It's a lot to consider, especially as we're all trying to navigate this constantly changing digital landscape.
Yeah, it's a good question. What kind of future do we want to create online, and what role do each of us play in making that happen?
Well said. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive, everyone. I hope you found it as eye-opening as I did.
It was definitely fascinating.